Would you prefer to work harder to get your result or to get your destination? Or you would prefer to work smarter to get the result that you need? Well, that decision is left for you to make. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Juliet. I'm a Pearson Test of English tutor. In this space, all I do is help you to pass your Pearson Test of English by sharing tips, strategies, and every other thing I can think of to make you pass, just to help you on here. Okay, so if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and give me a like so my video can get to more people that need to watch it. Okay, in today's video, you already saw the topic. We're going to be talking about either you work smarter or work harder. Which one would you want to do? Now, there are things that I'll be talking about here. I have written about 4 things here that I'll be talking about, and it will be left for you to decide on what to do. Now, Pearson Test of English is actually not a very difficult exam. You just have to understand what is required of you. And once you understand what is required of you, it is easier for you to tackle the exam. Okay, so preparation is very, very necessary. You just can't show up in that exam hall and pull it off like that. No, it's a very not so straightforward exam like the IELTS, because some of the tasks are intertwined. Like you have to get your score for a particular task from another task. So I'll be talking about how you can work smarter and not harder in this video. Now, the first thing I have here is know the most important task from each module. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Do you want to work smarter? Then what are the first things you need to do? You have to understand that for the Pearson Test of English, there are some tasks that are very important. Most of the scores will be coming from certain tasks. That means that you have to know those most important tasks, because that is where your scores will be coming from. So let's take, for instance, the speaking module. For me, the speaking module is the single most important module in the Pearson Test of English. All right. So if it's the most important module, you have to know that you have to take it seriously. Why is it the most important module, if you may ask, especially if you're new on my channel? It's the most important module because there are certain tasks or there are certain questions in it that can help you pass the listening module and the reading module. Okay, so let's say, for instance, the first task in the speaking, which is the read aloud. The read aloud will help you pass both the speaking module and the reading module. So I would say that if you know that, it's a very big plus for you. Okay, now if you know that answer short questions will not give you the same score as the read aloud or the repeat sentence, you're not going to waste time trying to do 2,000 answer short questions. Rather, you will channel your energy to read aloud, to repeat sentence. You try to figure out how those tasks work. You practice on it and see what scores you can get and how you can better your scores. If you're going to be practicing for the PTE on your own, you have to begin to ask yourself, okay, so what did this tutor from this YouTube video, what is she saying about the read aloud? How can I go from getting 1/5 in my score for oral fluency to 5/5? Okay, so the most important task from each module, like I've mentioned, the read aloud and the repeat sentence are the most important from the speaking module. Then when you go over to the reading module, you have reading and writing fill in the blanks and the reading fill in the blanks. Then you go over to the listening module. You have tasks like write from dictation, fill in the blanks, highlight incorrect words, and probably summarize spoken test. That is the first task in the listening. Now, these are important tasks, okay? But generally, we talk about the 4 most important tasks in the entire exam, which are the read aloud, the repeat sentence, reading and writing fill in the blanks, and write from dictation. We can decide to also add the reading fill in the blanks. These are tasks that have scores. Do you know, like, for instance, now the write from dictation, which is the last task in the listening, will contribute like 40 marks to your writing module, because the writing module on its own doesn't have a lot of scores. So that's what I mean. You have to work very smart. You don't have to sit down and just focus on essay writing, how to memorize the template, or you think about the multiple choice questions, trying to figure out how to answer the multiple choice questions. You're not working smartly when you do that. So what I have said here, the first thing is know the most important task. Focus on those tasks and get your score. You know that 80-20, the Pareto principle, 80-20, doing 20% of things to get the 80% of things that you have. It's the same thing you need to apply for the Pearson Test of English if you want to get that score that you need. All right, the second point I have here is have a strategy. I used to tell some of my students that I'm just going to teach you what to do. Then you have to go back and internalize these things and tell yourself, this is how I'm going to do it. What strategy do you have, if I may ask? Or you just want to come for the lectures and after that you go back? Maybe that's why people would always ask me when they call me, say, Juliet, what is the guarantee that I'm going to get 65 or 79? And I say to them, see, sorry, but there's no guarantee. But one thing I know, the guarantee I'm going to give you is, for me, I'm going to play my part. I'm going to try my best to bring you up to speed, to know what to do. But if you, on the other end, do not come up with a strategy, and I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You can't do that. You have to have a strategy. Tell yourself that I'm going to do the read aloud. Since it's the most important in the speaking, I'm going to do 30 of it every day or 50 of it every day. I'm going to do the repeat sentence, 50 of it every day or 100 of it every day. These are strategies, okay? Without these strategies, you will not really do well in this exam. You'll just be everywhere. Oh, today you do answer short questions. Next tomorrow you'll be focusing on select missing words. I mean, I get a lot of calls, a lot of messages on my phone or my platforms, and people tell you, oh, can you help me pass the writing? I try to memorize the template, or the multiple choice questions, they're not helping out. That's why I failed my reading. No, bro, that's not what has happened. Understand those tasks, then have a strategy. If you have a strategy, it's easier that way for you to pass. Okay, now the third point I have here is practice. You can't practice 5 and say, oh, I've practiced 5 of repeat sentence or 5 of read aloud or 5 of... Tell me, if you practice 5 and go into the exam, what are you going to get? What score really are you going to get? Okay, now I remember the first time. I know if you have been following me, I've said these stories over and over again because they are real-time stories. The first time I had a tutor that taught me PTE, she taught me the reorder paragraphs, and I was flunking it while she was teaching me, and I felt that she didn't pass it across in a way I could understand. Do you know what happened? After that class that day, I went back to that particular task and I spent time trying to do the whole 300 and something question back in, I think, 2019 or 2018, okay? So you can imagine, and while I was at it, I began to understand how it is being done and how you can get your score. So practice is very important. So practice, practice, practice. After having a strategy, put it into practice. And the good thing is that there are different platforms available, even the free ones, the paid ones, where you can practice and just see how you're faring. You can use mine, www.englishprepclass.com.au. is free at this point. You can practice on that website, you can get feedback, okay? You don't have to pay money on my platform, and some other platforms out there are also good. So practice every day. If you have 1 week target, because I know everyone is busy, if you have 1 week target, set out a goal, set out a strategy, how you're going to practice. Don't be everywhere, okay? Be prepared. Stay focused. Work smarter and not harder. All right, the last point I have here is try out the official Pearson test. I can't talk about this enough. The official Pearson Scored test is about 49 Australian dollars because I live in Australia. Try it out. I always tell my students that is my go-to. Even me as a tutor, I go to try out some of my strategies there to know if they are working. So I would say to you, try out the official Scored test from Pearson. Buy it, save up money, buy it. You know why I'm telling you to do these things? If you do these things, it saves you time and it saves you money. Okay, because if you don't do these things I'm talking about, like trying out the Scored test, and you want to get scores like 79, you go into the exam hall and you come out and then you need to rewrite. That's waste of money. But after knowing the most important task, having a strategy, practicing the questions because of the strategies you have, then try out the Scored test. It will show you where you are at. Okay, it's going to show you, it's a reflection of where you're at. And if you're still having problems, try to figure out at what point you're having that problem. If you have a tutor, like I will tell my student, bring it, we can look at your scores together and we can analyze it and we can see where you can get better. Okay, so these are very vital steps. There are more things that you can do to pass the test, and if you know any of them, and can put it in the comment section, leave it in the comment section for me and every other of my followers that will see this video, or a first time test taker that will see this video. Well, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in again to my YouTube channel. I remain Juliet, your Pearson Test of English tutor. You can find me on Instagram at English_prep_class and on Facebook at English Prep Class. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.